Liam and I met through a family acquaintance. Our parents had known each other for years. After a few meetings arranged by both sides, he proposed. I accepted. They believed I had secured a good husband, successful in business, well-mannered, and from a respected family. My friends congratulated me, my sister offered support. She attended bridal fittings, gave opinions on color themes, and helped with guest coordination. But I noticed something different in how Liam behaved when she was around. His tone changed. His gaze lingered longer. His responses were more relaxed, more engaged. Some even jealous of the match. There were no grand gestures. It was handled quickly, efficiently, and both families began wedding preparations without delay. When they noticed me, they paused. He stepped back slightly. Possibly, they never began anything officially. But it didn't matter. I went to bed, woke up, and started preparing my exit. The truth was, I was not the woman he wanted. I greeted them, and they made small talk. I didn't mention it. My friend picked me up from the station. We didn't waste time. Within 2 days, we were legally married in a simple civil ceremony. No guests. No celebration. Just signatures. He lived in another city and had once confessed his feelings to me. I had never pursued it. But he was still in touch, still single, and still interested. I explained the situation clearly. He agreed to help. My parents were shocked but eventually accepted it. There were no public statements made. The families agreed to call it a misunderstanding. I contacted them through email. I explained that I had made a decision not to marry Liam. Only I knew the truth. Liam never loved me. He loved my sister. I left before I became collateral damage. I informed them I was already married. I didn't share the name of my husband. I was never supposed to be the bride in his story. So I left and became the bride in my own. I started a new job, rented a new apartment, and kept my marriage private. My new husband respected my boundaries and gave me space. We kept everything low profile. Our engagement was announced to relatives and friends. My parents were proud. I saw Liam texting. I noticed he often deleted his call and message logs. He avoided discussing anything unrelated to the wedding. We didn't talk about life after marriage, where we'd live, or even honeymoon plans. Everything was procedural. I never showed up. Calls were made. No one could reach me. Eventually, my father announced that the wedding was postponed due to a sudden emergency. He turned off his screen when I walked into the room. I didn't ask questions. But I started observing more closely. One afternoon, I walked past the garden and saw Liam and Alina talking alone. He was standing closer than necessary. She was laughing quietly. Later that evening, the screen showed a name, Alina Yellow Heart. I picked it up. There were messages. Over the next few days, one night, he left his phone on the coffee table. It buzzed twice. I wish things were different. I'm only doing this for the family. I packed one suitcase. I left my phone behind. I didn't leave a note. I simply left. I arrived in another city that evening. Meanwhile, back home, my family was preparing for a wedding that wouldn't happen. On the wedding day, Liam arrived at the venue. Guests were seated. Music played. The officiant waited. Alina disappeared from the venue quietly. Liam remained there, speechless, holding a ring meant for a woman who had already become someone else's wife. My family didn't hear from me for 2 weeks. Liam didn't respond. Alina never reached out. I didn't return to my old city. The story spread quietly in some circles, but no one had full details. Some said I got cold feet. Others believed there had been a fight. After I left, my parents tried to call me multiple times. My phone was off. They messaged, emailed, and even contacted my close friends. No one had answers. I didn't provide any. My absence caused confusion. Liam stood at the front, waiting for over an hour. My father eventually announced that the ceremony would not continue due to a private matter. No further explanation was given. I stated clearly that I had no intention of returning. I told them the marriage had been cancelled by me. I also informed them I had married someone else. I provided no name or contact information for my husband. I told them I was safe. On the day of the wedding, guests waited in the decorated venue. Alina was not seen for the rest of the evening. She had left before the announcement was made. According to one guest, she received a phone call, stepped outside, and never returned. After 2 weeks, I sent an email to my parents. I informed them that I had relocated. A mutual friend informed me that Liam had taken a leave of absence from work. Alina had gone abroad for a short program. I didn't inform anyone other than official departments and my workplace. My new ID documents reflected my new surname. My parents had stopped discussing the incident with anyone. The engagement photos had been removed from all platforms. No public statement was made by either family. She asked if I was okay. She did not mention Liam or the wedding. I didn't reply. The reaction from my family was mixed. My father didn't respond for several days. My mother replied with short questions asking for details. It was an arrangement based on mutual understanding and convenience. He wrote one paragraph. He did not ask about my past, and I did not ask about his. No visits. No messages from the past. I didn't respond. I had no interest in discussing it further. I had made my decision. It was final. It showed Liam at a formal dinner, seated next to an unknown woman. They weren't smiling. It looked like a corporate event. I deleted the photo and emptied the trash. One of his cousins sent me a message through social media asking for clarification. I ignored it. I was promoted to a supervisor position at my job. My husband was contracted by a foreign tech firm. Physical prints had been left at my parents' house. We moved to a slightly bigger apartment closer to his co-working space. I maintained no contact with anyone from my previous life. I focused only on the present and managing my new path forward. But I understand. I won't contact you again. Liam did not try to contact me directly. The card listed the groom's name. It was not Liam. The event was scheduled to take place in 2 weeks. I assumed it was someone from Liam's side. I informed the landlord not to entertain anyone asking about me. I also requested additional privacy. Back in my new city, I focused on setting up my routine. I found a job as a junior administrator in a logistics firm. I sent him an email requesting no further contact at my job. I informed my husband that someone from my past might try to contact me again. He nodded and said he would manage accordingly. It was unrelated to what I had studied but provided steady hours and a quiet environment. My new husband worked remotely in IT and kept a low profile. We shared rent. There was no ceremony, no honeymoon. Just legal paperwork. 3 weeks after the cancelled wedding, my cousin forwarded a message from Alina. A month later, my father called my new workplace. The receptionist passed the call to me. I hung up. News about me spread slowly. People speculated. Some said I ran away with someone. Others claimed there had been a scandal. None of them had full information. 2 months later, I changed my name legally to avoid future complications. I opened a joint savings account with my husband. We began planning our expenses jointly. There was no romantic involvement. At the end of the 3rd month, I received a handwritten letter. It had no return address. The handwriting was Liam's. "You didn't have to leave like that. We could have discussed it." I didn't expect this. I shredded the letter. I didn't reply. My landlord called one day and said someone had come by looking for me. A man in a suit. Didn't leave a name. 6 months passed. Our life remained quiet and uneventful. There were no confrontations. 1 year after the wedding that didn't happen, I received an invitation. It was from a distant cousin. Alina was getting engaged. I noted the date and location. I had no intention of attending. I deleted the message and blocked the sender. Later that evening, I received an anonymous email. No message, just a photo attached. The next morning, I changed all my email passwords and secured my accounts with 2-factor authentication. I kept no photos from my engagement with Liam. Everything was deleted. I did not plan to see any of them again. My daily schedule remained the same: wake up, work, return, prepare meals, rest, repeat. I had no regrets about leaving. I did not review the past. I did not track Liam or Alina's lives. After receiving the wedding invitation from my cousin, I made changes to all my contact details. I closed old accounts, created new ones, and shifted to a different phone number. My husband assisted with securing my information and protecting our privacy. Apparently, my name had come up in a wedding rumor thread online. I denied the connection. The topic wasn't brought up again. We installed surveillance in our building entrance as a precaution. No visitors were allowed without verification. I didn't attend Alina's engagement. I didn't answer. I requested my supervisor handle the rest of the audit. He complied. I received a few follow-up texts from extended relatives asking if I would be there. I requested a transfer to another branch office in a different city. It was approved within 10 days. We moved at the start of the next month. I didn't respond. One relative sent photos from the ceremony. I deleted them without opening the gallery. We updated the paperwork under a new district jurisdiction. The process took a week. Our new documents were mailed securely. I was assigned to lead a new internal training program. I kept my schedule full and rarely interacted with clients outside of work hours. A colleague at work asked if I was related to someone from the Gupta family. The next week, I received another letter. No name, no return address. Just the initials LW. It contained one sentence, subject, Alina's wedding, will you come? I hope you're okay. We both agreed to operate on a need-to-know basis with everyone in our surroundings. No personal stories. No background discussions. Just work and home. A small tabloid had published a gossip piece titled, Tech Heir Liam Walker Still Single After Broken Engagement. There were no names mentioned, but the timeline and details matched. I didn't reply to the message. The receptionist said the caller didn't leave a name. The visitor did not provide ID and left when questioned. We cooked dinner, watched a documentary, and followed our normal evening routine. There were no calls, no messages, no visits. I asked management to restrict access to the lobby entirely. The caption said, "He hasn't been the same since you left." I deleted the message and blocked the number. I asked her to screen all future calls and block any suspicious numbers. She said the family was gathering before Alina's wedding and asked if I would come. We agreed to travel for a few months. She included the address. I deleted the email and didn't reply. Liam wasn't supposed to fall apart. I wasn't supposed to be next in line. We haven't spoken in months. No shared contacts. He disappeared. No one knows where he went. I'm writing this because I'm sorry. But also because you should know. You were right. I burned the letter. The following month, our office was audited. One of the external auditors recognized my name from a past social event and asked if I had once been engaged to Liam Walker. I started considering relocation again. My husband had the flexibility to work remotely. We rented a new apartment on the top floor of a quiet building. We avoided social gatherings, kept all information offline, and updated our legal address privately. I deregistered from all local public events and loyalty programs that required identification. 2 months after moving, my ex-colleague forwarded me a link. I visited the bank and closed the joint account that had once been created for wedding planning. The balance had been zero since I left. The teller recognized my name but didn't say anything. I thanked her, took the printed receipt, and left. Later that night, my husband asked if I wanted to change our marriage registration location. I agreed. At work, I focused on operations and avoided personal conversations. My job performance remained above average. 6 months passed without incident. Then one afternoon, I received an email from an unknown address. I blocked the address immediately. The message was followed by a call to my office line. 2 days later, my building receptionist reported a visitor asking for me by my former name. My husband installed a silent alert system on our phones in case of further unwanted contact. 3 weeks before Alina's wedding, I received a registered envelope. It contained a handwritten letter. The handwriting was hers. I know why you left. I didn't expect you to walk away so quietly. I returned the letter to the envelope, sealed it again, and placed it inside a locked drawer. I didn't respond. A few days after that, my mother emailed. On the wedding day, I muted my phone and stayed indoors. Later that night, someone sent me a photo of Liam walking alone down a street. After the wedding, silence returned. No more letters. No more emails. No more visits. I renewed my lease for another year. My husband received a new contract with a foreign firm and would begin working on overseas projects. I filed for a formal name change and permanent relocation status. I submitted documents for both. Approval would take 6 weeks. In the meantime, we minimized all digital traces. No social media. No shared directories. No public photos. No check-ins. We maintained silence. There were no further updates on Liam. No one mentioned him again. There were no future invitations from Alina. I had no interest in reopening the past. Everything that needed to be left behind had been left behind. We stayed in the new city for 8 months. During that time, I received no further messages from my family or anyone connected to Liam or Alina. My husband and I maintained limited interactions with neighbors, colleagues, and the outside world. We traveled twice, once to a coastal region for 10 days, and once to a quiet rural town for a week. Both trips were without incident. We kept no public records or posted updates. Travel documents were secured. Flights were booked under updated legal names. I no longer used my birth surname. My previous identity was officially retired. I received confirmation of my name change and permanent relocation registration. I visited the registrar's office, signed final forms, and received updated identification. At work, I completed a major project and declined an internal promotion that would require media exposure. I cited personal preference. My manager accepted without objection. I received a package. There was no return address, no courier label. His name was familiar, connected to one of Liam's business partners. I requested reassignment and was granted an alternate client. No interaction took place. It was hand-delivered. We used aliases for most public services and limited purchases to secure cards only. I deleted the entire inbox and closed the email account permanently. The name listed was Luke Hansen, an alias Liam once used on a private gaming profile. I blocked it and activated full privacy mode. The receptionist. We began researching cities with strong digital privacy laws and low personal data sharing policies. 3 locations were shortlisted. I received a formal letter from a law office representing the Walker family. It was not a threat or legal notice. It contained a single sentence, claimed but I had to try once. I logged the IP using basic tools. It traced back to a public network in my old city. I did not respond. Our goal was to leave the country within the next 6 months. I submitted a silent report and flagged the email as potential harassment. Alina's name did not appear again. Liam's name was not mentioned in any publications or digital sources we monitored. Subscriptions were re-established under new credentials. New SIM cards were issued. Devices were factory reset and resecured. I requested remote work flexibility. It was approved. I began working from home 3 days a week. Inside was a small frame with a broken glass cover. The image inside was from our engagement dinner, me seated beside Liam, both looking forward without expression. It had. All paperwork was kept in fireproof storage. No physical copies existed outside that location. Most records tied to my old name were eliminated or buried. Been left. They recorded it and told me they'd follow up if necessary. I didn't expect further communication. Our lease was finalized. Our flights were confirmed. We submitted final departure notices to local authorities, employers, and service providers. Man in a cap who didn't give a name. The box contained a photo album. We kept our routines separate and consistent. Liam standing alone at the altar. There was no note inside. Just the images. No disruptions. My husband's overseas contract began. He worked mostly at night due to time zones. We adjusted our schedules accordingly. I worked during the day. One day, I requested a change of office desk location to a windowless section near the back. I stopped bringing personal belongings to work. I stored all digital files on encrypted drives. No personal mail was allowed to my work address. Inside were pictures from my canceled wedding. Images of me in a dress fitting, invitations on display, guests arriving at the venue. They reviewed footage but couldn't identify the man. I filed a quiet report at the local station for documentation. No further action was requested. I shredded the album page by page. I reported the incident to building security. Following the incident, 3 weeks passed. No new disturbances. I learned through an internal bulletin that a former client from my old city had relocated to my current branch. Around this time, Alina's wedding photos began circulating online. Someone forwarded them to my inactive email. The subject line read, "She finally did it." 1 month later, I received a LinkedIn request from an unknown profile using a stock image. I began purging all unnecessary digital presence, old blogs, subscriptions, payment platforms, and third-party apps. My husband did the same. At this point, 12 months had passed since the cancelled wedding. Our client requests no further association and confirms all matters are closed. No additional documents were enclosed. I archived the letter and added it to the record file I kept for incidents and responses. I began seeing a notary once a month to certify my ongoing legal activities, including transfers, property shares, and financial transitions. My husband suggested we prepare for relocation again within the year. At work, my contract was updated to reflect my new name and location preferences. On one of those days, I received an email from a burner address. The content was short: "You never said goodbye. You just vanished. That was your choice. I've accepted it." There was no signature. My husband began consulting for a foreign company with opportunities in Europe. We started preparing documents for visa processing. All financial activity was moved to a new joint account. All previous cards and accounts were closed. During this time, we received no contact from my parents. We conducted a final sweep of our online presence using data removal tools. On the day we booked our international flight, I received a final package. No return address again. I placed it in a plastic bag and delivered it directly to the local police station as suspicious mail. By the end of the week, we had secured temporary lodging overseas. We were leaving permanently. The past had made one last attempt to reach me. It failed. We arrived in the new country as scheduled. Immigration cleared without issue. Our accommodation was ready, a small furnished apartment in a quiet district near my husband's new workplace. I registered with the local ID system, opened a basic bank account, and updated my work records to reflect the change in residency. My employer had already approved remote access for my role. I resumed work without delay. Deliveries were made to a nearby locker system. The building had coded entry and private parking. No mailboxes were accessible to the public. Banks, service providers, and identification registries received notarized documents. My previous nationality and name were recorded only in sealed records, inaccessible without court order. All accounts were closed or anonymized. No further paper trails remained. It was forwarded to our legal contact and destroyed. No contents were disclosed. Meetings were conducted with voice only. I declined all video calls. I accepted. They requested a brief biography and professional profile for internal records. I provided only factual information, no background, no previous city, no personal stories. I marked the date, updated the incident log, and closed the entry. We maintained separate schedules. Weekdays were structured. Weekends were kept for errands and apartment setup. I blocked each one. My visibility settings were adjusted to private, invitation only. No subscriptions. No newsletters. No public emails. Our first 2 weeks were spent adjusting. My husband began his new contract immediately. He worked long hours due to overlapping time zones. She said it was the same as someone she followed online. I paid in cash, exited, and never returned to that location again. I deleted the app and changed my handle. We kept no personal photos in the home. All digital accounts were registered under aliases. No names were listed on the door or buzzer. There were no sightings of people from my past. There were no phone calls. No leaks. No press inquiries. Our faces were never photographed. Our names were never shared. Within the first month, I submitted formal withdrawal letters to all institutions tied to my previous address and name. No contact from Liam. No contact from Alina. No contact from my parents. No trace of follow-up from former friends, clients, or relatives. Nothing appeared. No new profiles, no mentions, no activity related to my former name. It was updated every 10 days. We did not attend language classes or cultural events. All communication remained professional and limited to official purposes. My passport now reflected my updated legal identity. My role became back-end focused. I trained a replacement for front-facing interactions. She never learned my full name. We did not connect with the local expat community. Documents would need preparation 6 months in advance. We agreed to begin compiling them soon. A notification arrived from our old building back home. Management had received a piece of mail addressed to my former name. We did not arrive or leave together. I maintained an encrypted backup of all documents, letters, and timeline details in case of future verification. It was stored offline and updated monthly. My days remained structured: log in at 9 a.m., complete assigned tasks, log off by 5 p.m. Lunch was taken alone. After 3 months, my employer offered a long-term contract with flexible location options. I updated my legal marital status on immigration forms. My husband and I were granted 1-year renewable residency. Renewal would be handled by our lawyer. Occasionally, I received follow requests on professional platforms from names I didn't recognize. We avoided all digital transactions not tied to verified sources. I purchased a prepaid local number used solely for essential communication: banks, Idaho offices, emergency services. It remained switched off unless needed. We kept a burner device powered only during travel. All other activity remained offline. 5 months into relocation, I changed my employment title on internal records. My team lead approved the adjustment. My name appeared only in back-end systems. I received no messages, no letters, and no anonymous packages. One day, I visited a local cafe. The cashier paused at my name on the payment app. We discussed relocating again in 12 months, possibly farther, possibly permanently. I withdrew from all client-facing duties at work. We switched our shopping habits. No home deliveries. No online orders. All purchases were made in-store using local currency. We used separate checkout lanes. We avoided neighbors, gatherings, social functions. I kept a printed logbook of all major events: mail received, names contacted, accounts closed, cities visited. At the end of the year, I reviewed the entries. My legal identity had been accepted by the local government. No further steps were needed for validation. My next renewal was scheduled 11 months ahead. I checked online records for any signs of search attempts. I cleared my browser history, deleted cache, reformatted devices, and reinstalled all operating systems on personal hardware. We maintained silence. No engagement. No updates. No acknowledgement. Everything that needed to end had ended. Everything that needed to begin had begun. We lived. And nothing reached us. 1 year after our relocation, we submitted early applications for permanent residence. All requirements were met. Background checks cleared. The approval notice arrived 3 months later. We received our new identification numbers, updated tax status, and health coverage cards. We moved in on a weekday morning. No neighbors were informed. The moving company was paid in cash. The building had no doorman. No one asked questions. With permanent status secured, we purchased a small apartment under a trust. All communication was conducted through encrypted platforms. The ownership documents listed only entity codes, no personal names. The purchase was made through a legal firm specializing in confidential real estate transactions. No photos were taken. No agents were involved. No new friendships formed. No names shared. No histories discussed. We sold or donated most of our belongings from the rental apartment. I forwarded it to our legal representative and deleted it. No pattern was visible from the outside. He flagged the sender for monitoring. No further messages arrived. We updated all addresses silently and notified only verified institutions. All others were ignored or blocked. No physical mail was accepted. Surveillance showed him walking alone. He never checked out. His belongings were found inside the room. No contact info was listed. His car remained in the parking lot. No foul play was suspected. He had simply disappeared. Our daily schedule remained unchanged. Work, groceries, sleep. One afternoon, I received an email on a new account I had never used publicly. It read, "I heard you left the country. I hope you found peace." I never did. L.W. There was no attachment. No follow-up. At work, I was promoted to Regional Data Coordinator. The position required no public listing. All communication remained internal. My name was not published anywhere. My husband declined an opportunity that required conference travel. He didn't want visibility. We agreed on that without discussion. We changed grocery stores every 2 months. We used rotating routes for public transit. We never took the same path twice in 1 week. On the second anniversary of the cancelled wedding, I received a digital link from an unknown number. It led to a memorial website. He wrote, "A country with full data erasure rights and no public census records. We received pre-approval. We prepared documentation." Liam Walker had been declared missing. According to the brief write-up, he was last seen leaving a hotel on the night of Alina's wedding reception. The website featured a single photo, one from the engagement dinner. The same one someone had sent me before. No comments were allowed. I closed the link. Deleted the message. Blocked the number. I made no calls. I filed no report. I informed no one. 3 days later, I received a private message from Alina. It was short. "He looked for you until the day he vanished. I just thought you should know." I didn't answer. I archived the message and marked the communication channel as inactive. There was no emotional response. No change in schedule. No interruption in routine. 1 month later, my father emailed me for the first time in over a year. "If you're safe, that's enough. Only hand-carry items, documents, backups, and minimal essentials." Immigration was cleared. No questions were asked beyond the required protocol. No request to return. No reference to the past. I didn't reply. My husband and I applied for our third relocation. On the last night before departure, I reviewed the timeline I had maintained. The proposal. The suspicion. The messages. The disappearance. The legal marriage. The silence. The letters. The relocation. The ending. There were no loose threads. No questions unanswered. No open stories. We boarded the flight early morning. No luggage tags displayed names. We had no checked bags. We arrived without incident. We began again. No connection to the past. No ties to former names, cities, or events. Our records were clean. Our digital presence minimal. Our routine unchanged. We filed a final legal request to seal all prior documentation related to our old identities. It was granted. Archived records were locked indefinitely. We moved into a furnished unit with monthly contracts. No photographs. No decorations. No trace. We did not discuss Liam. We did not mention Alina. We did not revisit the decisions made or the moments that led us here. The story ended. And nothing more followed.